let's go over a few things that you can do to really set yourself up to recession-proof your business. Hey, I'm Spencer Powell, and welcome back to Builder Funnel TV, where remodelers and custom builders tune in to grow their businesses. Quick reminder, if you're not part of Remodeler Growth Community, head on over to builderfunnel.com, click on Community, and we'll see you inside. Today, I want to talk about something that feels like everyone's been kind of thinking about or predicting or not predicting, and that is, are we heading for a recession? If you look at the news, you'll see things that say, yes, we are. Other things say no. Other things say, yeah, within 6 months. Other things say within 3 years. At the end of the day, nobody really knows, right? Everyone's just predicting. But I felt like it was very timely to talk about what are some things that you can do to recession-proof your remodeling business. And I think it's always a good thing to be prepared and be planning for some things that we just can't predict that are coming in the future. So let's go over a few things that you can do to really set yourself up to recession-proof your business. Now, the first one is simply having cash reserves. So having anywhere from 3 months to 24 months operating expenses sitting in the bank as reserves in case anything happens. Before, I normally would have said 3 to 12 months or something like that. But after talking to my uncles, they had 24 months operating expenses on hand going into the Great Recession, and they needed every last dollar, and they made it through. So I've extended that range, whatever you're comfortable with, but having operating expenses in the bank for emergencies is always a best practice. The other component of that too is that on the personal side, having 3 to say 12 months of just personal living expenses as well. So maybe in the business you're having to make some adjustments, maybe you have to reduce your salary to keep things afloat, then you've got some personal savings to make sure that you're doing okay, even if you have to make some of those cuts or adjustments on the business side. So cash reserves on the business side as well as the personal side. The other one, honestly, is just having a really strong marketing and sales engine, because at the end of the day, cash flow is how you survive. And that cash flow is either going to come from new projects and new revenue or from cash savings, right? So having cash reserves. So if you got no new cash flow coming in, then you need that cash somewhere. So the best thing you can do is just try to maintain that cash flow, even if you're breaking even and you're not making much of a profit. But if you're not going backwards, then you're surviving and you're fine. You can keep rolling. So the best companies are always marketing all year round, and they're marketing through good times and bad times, because they know the good times will set you up to get through the bad times, and then you typically explode out of the bad times. The other thing, and I heard this recently and I thought it was a great idea, which is having a budget down approach and plan. So let's say you're a $4 million a year remodeling company. What if you went to $2 million next year in revenue? What would that look like? How could you scale down your company, still remain profitable, and survive at that level versus the $4 million level? And so a lot of times as you grow, you have more overhead that gets added in different pieces, different roles, different equipment, maybe more office space. It could be a variety of things. But what if you had to scale back in half really, really quickly? What would that plan look like? Would you do it in phases? What would be your first few moves? What would be the easy moves? What would be kind of the more painful, difficult moves, but you could still do them if you needed to? And kind of just mapping out that plan so that when stuff starts to happen, if that does happen, then you know exactly what to do. You got a plan for it, and you'll be okay. So I think that budget down, kind of scale down plan is a really good thing to have in place. And then the final thing is something I also learned from my uncles, and they said opening up home equity lines of credit, so HELOCs or business lines of credit, and then drawing down those loans and having that cash accessible. So one strategy they used was actually taking a HELOC and then taking that and moving it to a different bank, or having one bank where you've got a line of credit, drawing the line of credit, and then you slide that over to another bank so they can't just immediately close the line or take those funds back. Because during the Great Recession, when that all crashed, like all the banks were like, whoop, we're just pulling everything tightened up. And so if you didn't actually have that line drawn and you didn't have that cash available, you couldn't actually use it. So it wasn't much benefit to have it. So again, that one seems like a little bit of a timing thing, because you're obviously paying to have the line open. You usually have interest that you're paying on that loan. So it may not always be advantageous. But if you think things are going to get pretty wild and you're pretty concerned, that can be a great strategy to have some extra capital on the sidelines in case things get really bad. Then you can draw on that. And so that would just be in addition to your cash reserves if you felt like you needed that. So if you've got those 4 things in place, you are well set up to survive any sort of recession. You've got cash on hand, you've got a strong marketing and sales engine, you've got your HELOCs, and you've also got your budget down approach if you need to scale things down. So as we're thinking about the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, who knows what will happen, but these are some good things to think about so that you can be prepared for anything that comes your way. All right, guys, we'll see you next time here on Builder Funnel TV.